tonight we're proud to announce that for the first time in the history of the Oscars, this show is officially gone green.
Which means that environmentally intelligent practices have been integrated fully into every aspect of the planning and production of these Academy Awards. And you know what? It is not as hard as you might think. We have a long way to go, but all of us can do something in our own lives to make a difference.
All right, there you have it, our global warming greenies undermining economic growth and maybe even free market capitalism. Well, the Academy Awards went green last night with Al Gore's Oscar. Greenies also may have taken over the TXU private equity deal down there in Texas. Let's get right on to the debate. Christopher Horner, senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, author of The Politically Incorrect Guide to Global Warming and Environmentalism, and Dan Lashoff, science director for the National Resource Defense Council's Climate Center. Dan, first of all, did I get it right? Lashoff?
Yeah, Lashoff is right, but it's the Natural Resources Defense Council. And don't feel bad, though. Leo got the same mistake last night at the Academy Award.
All right, so I'm in pretty good company. Dan, let me just ask you, in some sense, Mr. Gore's movie was really about Greenland and whether it's going to fall off into the sea, and that's going to create, what, 20-foot high waves, the sea's going to be rising, and we're all going to get swamped by this. Begin us here real fast. What's your quick take? Do you agree with him on Greenland? Do you agree with him about the sea waves rising?
Well, Greenland's only one part of the story. The movie is very accurate as to the science. The basic story is we're pumping huge amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. It traps heat. That causes the Earth to warm up. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change called the warming unequivocal in their report last month. We're seeing the Earth warm up, and the risk that Greenland could melt down completely and raise sea levels by 20 feet is definitely there, but that's only one of many risks associated with global warming.
All right, hang on. Let me go to Chris Horner. Chris, first of all, some people are saying Greenland's going the other way, so Gore missed his market. And the UN study that's being cited by everybody has vastly lower numbers than anything Al Gore said.
Yeah, Al Gore says 20 sea level rise. The UN just cut their best range estimate to a range of 7 to 17 inches. So, yeah, I'd say he got the science wrong. Even the fairly alarmist UN says he's a bit of a stretcher with the truth. Now, if you look at Zwally et al., NASA scientists recently published, pointed out that it would take about 1,000 years to get 5 millimeters out of Greenland melting at the present rate. In fact, that's just the western edge. They're experiencing an ice mass buildup. The reason Al Gore has to make up stories about sea level rise, temperatures, and other things, the reason he doesn't superimpose his atmospheric concentration charts with temperature is because the truth isn't scary. And we need to make up scary stories and put away any doubts we have, in the words of a famous alarmist. So you're going to have to try to alarm people. After a while, it's like one of those New York Times columnists, Christoph, I think, said, these are like car alarms you no longer listen to. We like him as Druid-in-Chief. He's become a bit of a punchline. The movie was very moving, so long as you don't know what you're talking about and you don't feel like going to check out the science, but it's just a spectacle.
He did wear a bow tie with his tux, so I'm prepared to excuse a lot. But Dan Lashoff, I've always had a problem with this. I don't believe that man or humankind or men and women are ever the problem. I believe that men and women are always the solution. They're the ones who create the technologies. They're the ones who create the growth and the wealth and the jobs. And this is the problem I have with much of your movement. Blaming men and women, those are our most basic, important resources who have never let us down throughout history.
Well, actually, I agree with you completely. Men and women innovating is going to be the solution. But you got to just acknowledge the fact that if we're not paying attention, we're putting billions of tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. That changes the climate in unpleasant ways. And so we need to unleash that intelligence that you talked about to solve the problem. I absolutely believe we can do that. We just need to get going in the right direction. So I think we need to put this debate about the science behind us. The scientists have spoken. Global warming is happening. And now the businesses are actually getting on, coming up with the solution. So I think it's good. Let's go.
All right, so the scientists have spoken and the debate is over. Do you agree with that?
I'm willing to stipulate that purely arguendo for these purposes. It absolutely shames their movement for the following reason. Nobody has put forth any proposal that under any set of assumptions or under any scenario would, according to any champion, have a detectable influence on climate now or 50 years down the road. Yeah, that's true. The Kyoto Protocol even wouldn't have a detectable influence, 7/100ths of 1 degree Celsius delayed for 6 years at a cost of, according to the Clinton administration, 4% of GDP, which is 5 times the cost of the Iraq Iraq War every year for no detectable benefit.
Look,
If the
that's
science is settled,
that's
let's
wrong.
act. But somebody offers something that would rise to the level of acting, and so far nobody has the
Can
guts.
I
Mr. Gordon said
can I
what he
jump
wanted to
in?
do.
Let me raise a different point. Dan, you were involved in the Texas utility deal, okay? One of the things that troubles me is the deal is going to knock out the development of, 8 out of the 11 coal-fired power plants. Now, you've got analysts talking about this who say all that's going to do is take energy off the market, raise prices, and damage the economy. So if the science isn't great, why are we going to damage the economy? The laws of supply and demand mean we need more power, not less.
Well, TXU was going down a fundamentally reckless strategy to build 11 obsolete power plants as quickly as they could. And that actually was hurting their stock price, which made them an attractive takeover target. And the group that took them over said, you know what?
We're out of time.
That means you got them to be sold at a discount because of your pressure campaign. You didn't convince anybody to use less, just them to produce less, and people will step in. Watch.
Chris, is this a mistake?
Well, no, other people, it's a market opportunity. 6 other plants are already on the books, and more will come. This is a market, not a monopoly. Watch.
All right, we got to get out of here. You know what? I'm sorry. I want to spend more time. I'd like both of you to come back. I want to spend more time on this. You did great. We have lots more to cover. Christopher Horner, thank you.
Thanks.
Dan Lashoff, thank you. Up next, my last word on